Here's some instructions on testing out the beta version of the Weed app. So what you need to do first is you need to enroll in the beta version. So if you go to the App Store, if you already have the regular version, you're going to need to uninstall it and then go to the Nrds Aina mapping place, and then you scroll down and you set up as a beta tester. And then once that's set up, takes a couple minutes, then you can open the app as a beta tester. So once you open up the app, you log in. So let it fire up and log in. I'm already logged in. Apparently I'm offline. So I'm going to set my thing back to online. Once I log in, I can fetch data from the web. And you'll see right now I have this is my demo site, so it's kind of crowded with stuff, but it takes a couple of seconds to fetch. So this is one thing. If you're beta testing this, give me some feedback on if it's taking a really long time to fetch. So once the data is fetched, and you can see when I set my fetch, I can pick which features and functionality I actually want to fetch. So like, let's say you just want to pull the weed control data, or you just update your lists, you can just do that. The way the app is set up right now, it's not automatically fetching and pushing from the web. You have to manually fetch data. If you are connected online and you draw a polygon and you enter data, it will automatically go to the web, but you will not be pulling data automatically for the web. So for example, I go out and I draw a polygon and I'm online, I'm connected. That polygon will now show up on the internet. If I go on the internet and I draw a polygon and I enter weed control information, it will not show up on my phone until I fetch data. Or if I add another plant to my weed control list on the web, it won't show up until I fetch data. So anyway, so things that we need to test out is, you can see I have a ton of different points here. Some of the functionality, and you can click on a point and it should open up a pop-up detail window. I have a massive amount of points, so it's kind of showing me. And I'm connected to the internet, or I'm connected to my phone to the computer, so there's a bit of a lag. But you can see, you can click on a point and you can pull up information. You can also hold down this search option. It will give you proximity to the point, which you can also click onto and get information. If you're collecting a new point for weed control, what you can do is you can hold down this point button and it brings up this menu, and you can create a point, an unbound weed point. So click unbound weed point, it names it, save the name, and then you can see this dialog will pop up, and you can actually change the name of the point by selecting the taxon, and then you fill in your other information. So you have an option here to also repeat points. So if you do repeat points, the next point you take, it'll just copy all this information over. So this is really helpful if you're saying something like, oh, we want to take a point for every 10 plants, something like that. You can set that up. So once I save it, I go back. Now my point's on the map. So let's do an example of where it's on repeat. Collect a point, save it. This dialog should pop up. And I think we're going to change the workflow. So right after you take the point, this form pops up. So I can change my taxa, see it changes the name of my plant. I cut up a bunch of coqui frogs. So I'm going to change my number mature. You can also click on the number pad here and enter. And I'm going to change this to repeat, and I'm going to save. Now I'm going to go back, and you'll see the next time I take a point, I'm just going to get that save dialog, and it's going to pop up this bottom drawer. So what I think we're going to change this to is every time you collect a point, it's going to pop up the form and you just have to hit save. You can see I created a new point and it's on repeat. So that's something that I'd like some feedback on, is that repeat workflow and that point taking workflow. And so all of this also works offline. So you can switch this to offline mode and test that out. If you collect stuff offline, so you can also say go take this into a device that doesn't have cell and turn it off Wi-Fi like you would in the field and test that out. Also test out the tracking. So you click on this tracking line track and you can walk around, and it would be great to test out, tracking and taking points at the same time, and let me know how the performance is and if it crashes or there's any issues. Once you're done with your weed control work, you can actually draw a polygon. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say like draw this polygon, and you see there's actually like a little bit of a delay when you're in a big mess like this, but it shouldn't be too bad when you're not in a mess. So I can save my polygon. I can now click on that polygon, and I can actually edit it if it's messy. So I can click edit, and I can click on the points that are messy, and I can actually delete them. And I can also click on my polygon itself, and I can say add a weed control event. So I can fill in the top level survey information. I can also fill in, the worker hours. I can fill in detections, but if I took a bunch of points, I can actually bind those detection points to the work. So I can enter like the bulk herbicide, worker hours. When you're online, you can actually add additional workers to your list too. And all this will get synced once I save it. All this, once it turns from black to red, that means it's saved. If I go offline, anything I collect would be red. Until it gets synced in. That's how you know it's gotten synced in. Right, so you can see these. That's red, so it's gotten synced in. So you got to remember to, like, when you draw a polygon or you start a track, you have to start and stop the track by clicking the button. Right, so if this turns, if I'm tracking, it turns blue, and then to stop tracking, I have to hit it again. So you can see this shows me how many things are offline, and then once I come back online, I have an option to push now or push later. So I can say push later. I can come over here and I can push the data to the web, and that pushes my offline data to the web. So you do that when you get back to the office or in cell service. You probably want to wait till you're back in the office and you have pretty decent internet if you have a ton of points, because otherwise it might take a long time. So that's basically the weed control workflow. If we come back to the web over here, we can see that here's my polygon that I just collected off on the mobile device. And see, there's that. So it works. All right, thanks.